And welcome back to the Integrated Media Center here on the campus of Geneva College. I'm Chris Matthews, the Sports Information Director, and today we are joined by senior Jodie Carlson from the women's basketball team. Jodie, you were selected as the Female Student Athlete of the Week for your performance on the court, where you really finished the season well. I think you averaged double figures the last 6 or 7 games, including 18 on senior night to make sure that you guys came away with a win over Chatham. And then yesterday, the PAC announced that you were the Scholar Athlete of the month, which recognizes academic and athletic excellence as well as community involvement in campus life. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Thanks for stopping by. I'm curious, you've only been here 3 years, but you're graduating early. Kind of what factors went into that for people that have been watching the basketball season, noticed you were a junior at the beginning of the year, now you're listed as a senior. I'm curious, just as you're talking with your parents and with coach, what all the factors that went into that?
Yeah, it was a very difficult decision to make, obviously. Leaving the team a year early was definitely challenging. Coach Wynn tried to convince me to stay, obviously, so did a bunch of the players, but being like 5.5 hours away from home has been a challenge for me, being out here playing, missing some family time that I've always wanted to have so close. So being able to graduate early was a goal of mine, and I'm ready to go back home. So
Nice. Now, free throw shooting was a big part of your game this year. You were tops in the PAC pretty much all year. I think you spent some time in the top 10 in the NCAA Division III at about 90%. You always been a good free throw shooter? Something changed this year? I mean, what was it that allowed you to shoot so well from the stripe?
yeah, just repetition in the off season especially, but I shot, I think, almost 78% as a freshman, 74% as a sophomore, and routine hasn't changed, nothing changed, but something about this being my last year just made me step up, I guess.
Nice. Now, I know you're only kind of 2 days downstream from the end of the season, but I'm curious, any memories stick out over the last 3 years or anything, that you'll leave remembering well?
Yeah, definitely freshman year was the first year that we made playoffs in school history since being D3, so obviously that's something that'll stick with me there. We beat, that year we beat Westminster, we beat Bethany for the first time in at least 10 years. Obviously sophomore year with Coach Wynn having cancer leaves a lot of memories, whether those are good or bad. Yeah. And then this past year beating Chatham twice was huge for us especially, and making the playoffs again was a great experience.
So you obviously have a little bit of free time now that basketball's done.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you'll spend your time on. And then secondly, we'll kind of follow up to that, what you'll be looking forward to doing after you graduate. What's the next step? I know you won't graduate till next December, so you've still got a year, but I'm sure you've already started to think about those sorts of things as well.
Yeah, I plan on running. We'll see if I can keep up with that. I ran some races this summer, so I'm looking forward to training for some of those, maybe a half marathon in there somewhere.
Wow.
And then, yeah, after I'm done here at Geneva, I'm looking into getting a master's degree, so I'll have 2 more years of school after this.
All right. Well, so, I was in the Final Four, and you sort of maybe answered the first one, but I was curious to say, if you were playing basketball, is there another sport that you enjoy participating in? Maybe it's running. I don't know. Is there anything else that you grew up playing?
I do enjoy running. That's like a new hobby for me, but before deciding to commit to playing college basketball, I played volleyball in high school, so I really enjoy that as well.
All right. Would you rather have an 8 a.m. class or a night class?
8 a.m. class, for sure. I do not stay up late.
Now, you mentioned before that you consider yourself a pretty clean person.
Yeah.
Do you make your bed every morning?
I do not, actually.
Wow.
I do not. You're going to get right back in it anyways later, so I don't know.
All right. Now, you're a really strong student. That was part of the reason you got the Scholar Athlete Award. I'm curious, has there been a class here that stuck out as a particularly challenging one for you? I know you generally get all A's, but I'm sure some you have to work maybe a little harder than others.
My comm disc classes are pretty challenging, but I think getting used to the professors, I'm used to their grading style and their teaching style, but honors Bible is what got me last year. So
all right. Yeah, you have a 3.99
Yeah.
GPA, so I knew there was one class in there that must have just tripped you up just a little bit.
Just a little.
All right. Well, thanks again for taking a minute to stop by. I know you've had kind of a crazy week as the season finishes up, and we do appreciate you stopping by and taking a few minutes with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, that will do it for this edition of the Student Athlete of the Week. I'm Chris Matthews. This is Jodie Carlson, graduating early. Until next time, storm on.